Welcome to InnerGLOW, the podcast that helps you to ditch anxiety, judgment, stress, and self-doubt, and instead embody ease, confidence, flow, abundance, and self-love. I'm your host, Bhavna Meg, mindset and energy coach, and founder of Stepping Into You. I work with individuals just like you on emotional, mental, and energetic levels to help you to fall in love with yourself and glow from the inside out. This is episode 15. Today we're talking about creating health and wholeness. As you may or may not know, everything is energy. And when we start here, health and wholeness on the physical material level becomes much more achievable. Speaking from experience, I'll be sharing with you some of my own stories that are even ongoing, as I appreciate, and I'm sure you do too, that this is a lifelong journey and there's so many things that we are always discovering about ourselves. As always, listen all the way to the end, and I'll be sharing a method that works for me that you can apply to begin experiencing more health and wholeness in your life. Let's get into it. If everything is energy, then that would mean that even when we are not well, when we are holding extra weight, when we are not achieving the goals that we have for ourselves in our health and wholeness, those are energetic too. So what does that mean? That means that we have got something in our energetic field that is creating limitation and stuckness in our energy that is preventing us from achieving and creating or manifesting the state of being that we wish to be, that we desire to be. So remember that, and I'm going to share with you one of my personal journeys. I was diagnosed with a chronic gut condition, an irritable bowel syndrome, specifically ulcerative colitis. When I was 13 years old, it was a condition then that was very unheard of for somebody as young as that. It was usually seen in 40 plus year olds. I was told that this condition didn't have a cure and I was going to have it for the rest of my life and would need to take medications for the rest of my life. This was something that I felt a lot of resistance to as I moved into my 20s and my mid-20s, and I started seeking out other ways and natural means for healing. And one of the things that I looked into, having grown up with spiritual energetic healing my whole life, my mum's a healer, witch doctor type person, I started to explore more energetic methods of healing because, well, if something can help to heal my body without putting anything into my body at the energetic level, why would I not try that? If my symptoms are going to alleviate and I'm going to experience more ease and alignment with my body, why would I not try that? This was my initial thinking with working energetically, and I explored Reiki. I looked on the internet for Reiki practitioners and found that most of the websites that I was landing on or that were coming up in the searches, the explanation of Reiki was just so very airy-fairy. I'm probably a lot less than I used to be, but very scientific, logical minded. And I just wanted somebody to be able to explain it to me logically. So I chose not to go to a practitioner for a session. Instead, I actually signed up to do my Reiki level 1. Doing my Reiki level 1 workshop, I actually experienced quite a lot of energy movement in my body and sensed into when giving a Reiki session to somebody where they were experiencing blocks. Now, this was nothing that I had experienced before quite so consciously. And even when I received my attunement for Reiki level 1, I could feel that in my body. This was quite a profound experience for me. Now, a little bit of healing may have happened for me in that weekend workshop. And I continued to practice the tools and the processes on myself and with family and friends. And at the time, I had the pleasure of having a great deal of skeptical but open-minded friends who were open to trying out and receiving a Reiki session. And they also were having their minds blown by what they could feel and sense as I was giving the Reiki session. I'm going to fast forward quite a lot because my real healing with this particular condition happened when I started working with the tool Psyche and doing meditation work with Dr. Joe Dispenza. Now, Dr. Joe Dispenza's meditations were incredibly powerful for me. I was moving a lot of energy in my body from the get-go. I wasn't expecting anything to happen, and when it did, it was spectacular. Every single time I was having release experiences through my body and out of my cellular body. With Psyche, which is one of my primary tools now when working with myself and with my clients, I started working with Psyche and using it as a tool before I'd gone on Dr. Joe's retreats, and remember vividly having the thought, what could possibly be better than this? I had experienced in 3 months some tremendous releases, doing stress release processes on the energetic level, doing subconscious change work, working with belief statements and belief systems, and really transforming them into what is foundationally and at our core health and wholeness. And my physical body, as a result, was going through and went through huge purges. And I'm talking about kind of rear end purges. There was a lot of releasing of information coming through my body. And I was sitting with that and processing it and being okay and comfortable. But as gross as it might sound, I actually felt amazing. I'd lost a little bit of weight, and I actually had a friend ask me with a lot of concern if I was okay. And all I could reply was, yes, I'm amazing, because I truly felt like I'd shed all of this trauma that was sitting in my body and created space to now build with health. Now, I by no means profess that I'm in a perfect state of health and wholeness, but I'm certainly much, much healthier and more whole than I've ever felt in my whole life. And why do I say that I'm not in perfect health and wholeness? I believe that I am the healthiest I have ever been, the most whole that I have ever been. But the choices that we make on a day-to-day basis can keep that in balance or pull us out of balance. And those choices can be what we're thinking, what we're feeling, and what we're putting into and onto our bodies. Before we continue with the next part of the show, if what I've shared with you today is resonating with you, leave a review. It goes a long way to help share the love with others who are going through the same things and would benefit from the tips and tools to turn on their inner glow. Another way to share the love is by making a donation at patreon.com/steppingintoyou to share your love with me and with others. Being a mindset and energy coach, I'm constantly exploring with myself what my new edges are, and certainly other things that are coming into my awareness that I may have buried decades ago. As these things are coming into my awareness, choosing to process them in the best way that I know how, using the tools that I have. So working with tools like Psyche, or working energetically with myself to do energetic releases, or utilizing different types of meditation and breath work. These are all things that help me to move energy out of my body and create release. Every time that I choose to do that, I'm taking myself on an energetic, mental, emotional, and physical level to a different state of health and wholeness. Now, people say to me or ask me if when I'm feeling a little bit run down or have what I guess most people would call looking sick or feeling sick, I actually refer to this now as my body is upgrading. My body is going through a release process, going through a cleanse, and everything is upgrading, because that's truly how it feels. I come out at the other end of these purge situations, these cleanse detoxifications, feeling more whole, than I ever did before. It wasn't something that I could imagine feeling because I already felt healthy and whole. But the level of energy increases, my strength increases, my rest state increases, my ability to process information and energy increases and speeds up. And I have this every single time. So it's not something that I refer to as sickness. It's always a constant state of moving into more wholeness for me. And when we work at the energetic level, this is truly what it is. More and more in the mainstream Western medical system, patients are asked what kind of stress they're under. And this is because there is a growing understanding and appreciation that stress is the true cause of dis-ease. Dis-ease is simply the state of your physical body not being at ease, not being in balance, not being in harmony, not being in homeostasis. And when we can remove stress from the system and create more alignment at the mind level to the kinds of things that you want to experience in your health, then we can really start to support shifts in the physical reality. And by that, I mean your body. That brings us to today's tip. We're going to do some work at the mind level to really understand what's going on in the body that's limiting you from achieving health and wholeness. Now, I use a process that works on the spiritual and subconscious levels, but the one that I'm going to share with you is also something that I do at a conscious level. If you've been practicing the tips from previous episodes, this one's going to be super easy for you. And if you haven't used any of the tips from the previous episodes, that's perfectly fine. Give this one a go and see what comes up for you and share with me. Whenever I experience any discomfort, dis-ease, or tension in my body, I'll use my tools to explore what messages are coming up for and around and connected to that dis-ease, discomfort, or tension. And often there'll be something that comes up, and I go through a process to balance the energy around it to bring it back into a state of homeostasis. As you know, awareness is the first step. So when we know what's going on, we can start to work towards clearing it. What you're going to be doing is when you experience any discomfort, dis-ease, or tension in your body, whether it's new or whether it's existing, imagine that you are holding it in your hand in front of you with your palm facing upward. Imagine this discomfort, dis-ease, or tension in your hand and simply ask the question, what message do you have for me now? It's really important, as I've shared before, that we're not trying to analyze anything or try and think about what the message might be. It's simply allowing for the information to come into your awareness. This may happen straight away, and if it does, it will usually be in the first millisecond, something will come to you. If it doesn't come to you and you start to find after a couple of seconds you're in your thinking brain trying to find an answer, simply let it go. Continue about your day, about your evening. If it's before bed, just go to bed. The information will come because you have asked. The magnificent thing with our physical body is that it's constantly trying to communicate with us. It is sharing information with us all the time if we stop and listen without any judgment. That's all for today. I would love to hear how you get on with that and what your body is communicating with you. Drop me a message on socials or feel free to send me an email. Join me next week for episode 16, where we'll be talking about falling in love. Thanks for joining me today, and be sure to subscribe at steppingintoyou.com/InnerGLOW so you don't miss any glowing possibilities. And if you'd love to support InnerGLOW, you can make a donation at patreon.com/InnerGLOW. Sending you love, hugs, and magic.